happened? So what happened? Tell us your love story.
So Cyber and I met in 2017. We got engaged on,
And
God,
that was how soon after the magnet? That was not very long.
my God, no, we actually had our 5-year wedding anniversary yesterday. No, actually 2 days ago. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. And so, and so
Was
it
it
was
like, was it like,
three
how many,
months after the magnet we met. It was like it was date, and then like
like
Cyber.
snapping in the wind?
Yeah, but it's funny because it was like we met and I was still on the apps and dating, and we were about 3 to 4 dates in when it's like the modern world, right? Like the conversation is, are you ready to be out of the apps? Meaning like for us to actually close our accounts and like just be focused on dating each other, which is I guess like the modern world way. And so I was like, yes. I remember we were sitting in New York City in Bryant Park having coffee, and he's like, I'm so ready to just like shut down the apps. And like, and so we
Like
agreed
number
on
four.
that.
On date number four.
On date number 4, yeah. And
Love that.
so it actually allowed us to be focused and to see where it was gonna go. And after that it's like that was March, April. Um, June, I was meeting my whole family for a trip in Italy, like with my parents, my brothers, my nieces, my nephews. We were, my father's originally from Italy, so we were going back home and like just traveling through like Florence, and we were going Rome and Puglia and all this stuff for a few weeks. And he flew into Rome to actually meet my whole family for like 3 days. And I was like, well, baptism by fire into half Latin American, half Italian family. I'm like, it's never gonna get quieter.
Luck. And he's from, where is he from?
He's from Iceland. So it's like people get joking. It's like
Fire and ice.
nuts. Yeah. It's like Scandinavian and Latin American. And after that, it was just like it just moved. And we were engaged on top of a glacier 2018 uh into 2019, and then we got married inside a glacier.
Can
And
we share that video, a little bit of that video?
oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just too much. It's like, this is the thing about, this is the thing about my love stories from my coaching. It's like, they're so over the top.
I know.
Do not believe that it's true, but it is. It's like, because my whole thing is, what is the most fabulous thing that you can think of? No, no, no. Think bigger. You're not thinking bigger yet. Think even bigger. Okay, so I sort of got, when you see this video, people, you're gonna just freak out. He proposed inside the glacier, and you got married
Oh,
on top of the glacier. And
yes.
you got married in the glacier
We got married in the glacier. Like I hiked a glacier in a wedding gown,
and
like
hiking boots.
in hiking boots, like white hiking boots with like a little fur around them because it had to match the wedding gown. And like it was just us, the priest, and then the guy driving like this massive truck into the middle of nowhere in Iceland, and a photographer. And then, it was just like it was amazing. And we were supposed to have like a party with family afterwards, but it literally was a week before everything shut down with COVID. And so we
Oh.
flew back to the US, and the next day everything like shut down. And so, it was a good thing we got along well because our honeymoon was a side
First year of marriage was like in lockdown.
lockdown. Yeah.
Oh my God. And darling, how are things now? It's 5 years later.
I mean, they're great. Like, knock on wood, knock on everything. Um, I mean, they're good. Look, no relationship is perfect, but the one thing that I have to say, like, because I dated differently, because when I was looking at the things that I was looking for in a relationship and the way I wanted to show up, like, we are actually in a marriage in a different way, right? Like, things come up and we talk through it, like, we work through it. it's not a like, oh, I'm just gonna blow up and this. It's just like, I'm the emotional one in the relationship because, you know,
Right.
surprise, half Latin American, half Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, hands all over the place. Meanwhile,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the Davian like, whoosh. But we
Fun.
talk things and we show up differently. But you know, I do think it all started with me dating differently and thinking about what I valued in a relationship from a different perspective and having that clarity then when choosing who I wanted to get into a longer partnership with, you know, because I did not want to get in another long-term relationship, get married, and then get divorced. Having gone through a divorce before, this was not what I wanted to do again.
So you got the, sounds like you got the confidence, the clarity and the confidence, and the tools and the wardrobe
Oh my God, the wardrobe.
and the support. And then you found him in like 90 days. And then once you found him, we kept things on the rails.
Oh yeah.
He's like, also, the thing is, when you meet the right person, when you meet the right person, it should not be difficult, right? You should not be wondering. It's like you had the right polarity, the right dynamic. You had to get into your feminine. So the thing that we needed to do is we needed to get you to stop hyper managing relationship and actually being in your body and receiving love.
Agreed, 100%. And I do remember I was home.
I love you so much.
I love you so much too. I was home in El Salvador for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I had just, it was like the magnet makeover had been in December. And so I
Mhm.
had got the pictures. I had gone home to El Salvador and I was catching up with a lot of friends and we were having like this big dinner party. And it was like 8 couples and like myself and another guy who were the only ones from our friend group that got divorced. And so somebody like we were joking around there, like asking me what's like to date. And I was telling some funny stories about dating, but that was like when I had been dating like years before that I have all these like cuckoo stories. And one of them jokingly said, like, what makes you think it's gonna be different? And I had this moment of such
Challenge.
clarity. And I was just like, because the one thing that all that old pieces of dating had in common was that, was me. And the one
Right.
thing that I'm changing now is me and how I'm showing up. So dating will be different. And he just kind of looked at me and I'm like, because if I look like as an engineer, if I look back on the equation, if I actually had like data plotting for all of this, I would have realized that the only thing that was not a variable, the only fixed thing from every dating relationship that I had in the past was me. And if I wanted the future dating experience to be something different, then the change was going to have to come from myself, how I was showing up, how I was communicating what I wanted, right? How I was like, and communication to a lot of like the coaching that you do, it's not just the way you speak, it's the way you show up, like body language, how you actually create your pictures, how you create your profile, like all of these are pieces of communication that keep building this bigger picture as to who you are and how and what what you want to connect with.
Yeah, it's very intentional. That was very beautifully said. And because it was so intentional, and because you did the heart wound work with me, the heart healing work first, and then you moved into the makeover. Uh, so where you really kind of create the brand story about what it is that you stand for, right? What it is that you have to offer. When you connected with Cyber, which was like in 90 days of dating, right? And how many dates do you think you went on? You had
I
so
mean,
much after, but
it's funny because I count like the first 5 dates, and after that, it just feels like we were together. Like it
yeah,
almost feels
I
like
think it
we were
was,
in a relationship. And so like I can tell you like the first date, like coffee in the afternoon, Then the second date was when he went and picked me up from the bar when we were having drinks. The third one was like dinner with like that whole thing about like,
We
ooh,
were at Baccarat, that's where we were.
at Baccarat, that's right. Like, the fourth date, we went to see a movie. And then like the fifth date, like he took me to like one of his favorite restaurants again. And after that, I think like it was soon after that, like we had the conversation about like, just being off apps and just being in the relationship. And then it just felt like we were in a relationship. It didn't feel like we were like doing the whole thing. And part of it, I think, is to the work that you do with people, is that the person that I attracted was actually somebody who knew how to date me. And so
Right.
and so it created ease in the dating process for me, because one of the things that I hate, and when I start like micromanaging stuff, is that I like to plan out things. And so because I like to figure out my date, like I do time blocking. And so I want to know like, okay, I'm going to work on this business right now, and this is another idea I'm having, and here I want to do some writing and stuff like that. And Cyber was always good that at the end of every date, he would actually schedule the next date with me. So it wasn't like we would leave date two and I'd be like wondering, well, I don't know if we're going to go out again. And is he going to text me? He would actually close the deal on the next date before that. And so I would end that date knowing when I was going to see him next. And that to my nervous system just like chilled it out. Like I was like, I can just show up and like be present, not wondering like if is he gonna text me when he gets home, or has he like, it never put me in that guessing game, which to my nervous system and to the person that I am was like the most easeful way for me to date someone.
And then when you're not getting triggered, we were talking about heart wounds.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, everybody has heart wounds, but there's usually a core heart wound, one or two. And so you don't want somebody who's ripping the scab off your soul. So I have some processes that we do where we really get clarity about what the main thing that's actually causing you the most pain is, and that you keep repeating. And then how to really spot that in suitors that are vying for your attention, and knowing how to cut that off. And then it also allows you to clearly see somebody who is like, love is like medicine, right? If it's could be the right medicine for one person, but it could be really the wrong person, the wrong medicine for you. So you found your love RX. And okay, last question. What are the 5 big revelations that you've learned? Because I always say that when you find a heart healing relationship, when you find somebody who actually loves you the way that you need to be loved, and you love them the way that they need to be loved, which is really like a regenerating battery, right? It doesn't, one person's not getting drained by the other
Mhm.
person, right? The energy is like self-circulating and expanding. You then evolve to the next level, right? It then allows you to kind of grow as a human being. So how have you grown? How have you been able to grow now that you have found an uncrazy making
Um, such a
plan, and really knows how to kind of take care of you without triggering you?
such a good question. You know, it's not even in the big things. I think that for me personally, knowing that I can be unperfect
Mm.
and it's still fine, right? That I
Mm.
don't have to always show up like in perfection, like, like, and so that kind of freedom, like, at the core, as much as I'm like hardcore about some things and stuff like that, I am an incredibly goofy person. And so and so knowing that I can have like my goofy, weird moments with a sense of humor that he doesn't even get sometimes, and it's fine. Like I can just be like as goofy and weird and just be myself sometimes. And it's just like, and it's fine, you know. And I think it's kind of it goes back to that everything kind of reflects back on yourself. And so, you know, when I'm looking at business, I'm always like, if you want to be a leader, you need to model the behavior you want other people in your organization to act. And in some ways, he mirrors parts of myself that I don't see often. And that it's made me like look at them and be like, it's actually pretty cool. Like I actually appreciate that part of myself just because he has such affection for them when in other places they might have been criticized. And so it goes back to like even like stuff that you bring from your childhood and stuff like that. And I do think that being in a relationship feels so supportive and so accepting has allowed me to be so accepting of myself and pieces of myself that I was not accepting of. Um, it's allowed me to be a little bit lazier sometimes. Like I am more than okay being like, babe, can you bring me a piece of toast and some water? I'm just like not feeling great and just feel like I know it sounds like such a small thing, but when you're so used to taking care of a lot of people and doing everything, like feeling okay with being like, I can't even with this right now. Can you just do this for me? And like allowing somebody else to take care of me. You know, personally, that was like a big thing. Um, and just yeah, like I think there's just ease, like you know, and I think that the last one I would put in is that I always felt things were figure outable. Like I know that right now, like in a different way. Because usually like I'm like, oh, this problem can be solved, it's figure outable. And I knew I was talking about like business or logic problems or creative problems. But now I feel like the fact that like I don't care what's coming at us, like we'll talk about it, we'll figure it out. And knowing that it's not up to me, just me to figure everything out, you know?
Awesome. You're not alone.
I'm not
You
alone.
don't have to pull the sled all by yourself.
Oh
You
my God. Yeah. Somebody brought like horses and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. And somebody put wheels on this thing so it moves easier. I'm like,
please. I'll sit over there. Thank you. Oh my God, I love you so much. Fia, thank you so much for your generosity and sharing your love story. And, it's like you are why I do what I do. I really love helping women grow and blossom and evolve into their ultimate, empowered selves and watching them shine. And thank you for sharing your story and being such a great mentee to coach. And like what you might not know about Thea is when I started coaching her, she was very angry. She doesn't seem like she's an angry person, but she was like I was like, oh, she has so much fire. I think I called it so much passion and fire of expression. And but to see that maturation and the growth and the softening and the calm and the sweetness with you is just like, wow.
yeah, I do think I think I showed up that first day for the first class. For the first time we were getting together, I do think I was wearing like knee-high black boots with like black leather pants, black shirt. I was like
You're
that,
ready for combat. You're like,
spiky
you're
jewelry. I'm like,
gonna fight for love.
yeah. And thank you, Lauren. I mean, look, I know you love doing this, but I love the fact that you do this because I don't know where I would be right now if I hadn't actually like said yes and said yes for myself and like said yes into the process and said yes into being open to the possibility of things being done differently in a way that I didn't really see the path through. And also, I want to say thank you for making it such a blast and so much fun. Because the things you might not know about Lauren is that she is a blast to work with. And no matter how hard the topic, it's always fun.
I always say a spoonful of sugar
Yeah.
helps the medicine go down. And having, it's like if you're single and you're already depressed, you don't need to get beat up. You need to be loved up and cheered up and carried. So I love you so much. Thank you, Fiorella, for your sharing your love story with us today, my darling, and happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Bye.